Hi there, it's Bike Touring Mike here. This video is all about not making some newbie mistakes when you're out on the road. And I've done a video sort of in a similar fashion about a year ago, and I'll leave a link down to that video in the description below. It's really important to make sure that you're eating and drinking enough, and there are basically no limits here. If you're out there cycling hours on end, you're probably burning through twice as many calories as you would during a normal day back at home. And it can be challenging to remember to rehydrate and eat enough. So try to at least stop every hour or so to be able to get a proper snack in. So some people think that it's a good idea to stop every 2 hours or so and drink a ton of water. But this is not an optimal way of keeping your body hydrated. What you want to do instead is to take constant sips of water. And you can do this either by installing a couple of bottle cages on your bike or having a water bladder. And this might seem counterintuitive since everyone is speaking about lightening your load, but it's really important to fill up your water bottles when you get the opportunity, since you never know when the next opportunity to fill up your water bottles is coming up. And there's really nothing worse than having just a sip of water left in your water bottles with no water source in sight. And you can also bring a bottle of electrolytes if that's your thing. However, I'm not one of those people. But since I drink so much water during the day, I also need to replenish my salt level as well. Otherwise, I'm just gonna bonk at the end of the day. So what I usually do is that I spoil myself with a bag of potato chips at the end of the day, or maybe a pizza at lunch. The next point is all about being familiar with your gear. Let's say you have a new tent that you're super excited about trying. Make sure to try to set up that tent in your backyard before you go on your bike tour. No matter how silly you might look in front of your neighbors, it's better to practice setting up your tent back at home before you leave. Otherwise, you might find yourself setting up that tent for the first time in the pitch black, or even worse, in the pouring rain. And believe me, you're gonna be thankful that you've practiced setting up that tent back at home during those times. And the same thing goes with other gear that you're bringing, such as shoes, bike shorts if you're wearing those, or a new saddle. Make sure to always break those things in before you go on the bike tour. The next thing we're gonna try to avoid is going too far on the first couple of days. So maybe you've heard that people do around 100 kilometers each day, and you're thinking that I can't let anyone know that I'm weak. So I'm gonna do at least 100 kilometers, even if it kills me. It's really easy to fall into that mindset, and I've been there myself as well. When you get going, everything is new and you're kind of riding on that adrenaline rush. And you're not really listening to your body. But believe me, if you don't listen to your body is probably gonna let you know in a couple of days' time. By day 3, you're probably gonna start feeling a bit fatigued, or even worse, start to feel neck or back pains. So if you haven't done any practice runs with a fully loaded touring bike, it's probably gonna take a couple of days before your body is totally acclimated into riding for hours on end. So just take it slow. When you're tired, take a break. When something's hurting, stop for a while. You're out there for your experience, not someone else's. And remember that it's not about the destination, it's all about the journey. Don't go bankrupt trying to find ultralight gear right away. You can easily spend thousands of dollars trying to save a gram here and there. A tent that's under a kilo, a sleeping bag that might save you a couple of grams, or buying a titanium cook set. Now, I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with those things, but I'm just saying that there's time to get those further on in your bike touring career. There are, however, things that are worth spending a bit extra on in the beginning, and I've talked about this before, and one of those things is a good sleeping pad. That's all that I'm saying. Making 100 kilometers on a mild summer day on a nicely paved flat road is probably something that pretty much anyone is able to do. However, if you add in all the elements, you're probably gonna see that your average speed will decrease a lot. And if it's a cold and windy day, you might want to cut that day short to be able to get into your tent, eat some warm food, and just go to bed a bit earlier. And there's nothing wrong with that. So when we're considering all the elements, wind is probably your biggest enemy on a bike tour. I'd much rather take a long, steady uphill rather than a headwind for a very long time, since I know that at the end of that climb I usually have a pretty nice descent coming up, but the headwind just goes on and on. And when we're talking about climbing, even if you have a pretty good idea on how many meters of elevation you're gonna go through the next day, how those uphills are laid out is gonna affect you in different ways. If you have a pretty stable long climb versus having an up and down landscape is gonna affect you in totally different ways. A couple of years ago, when I was touring in the Czech Republic, we went through a sort of up and down landscape during the first couple of days, and that landscape really took a toll on us. And I've been cycling through very long climbs in France and here in Scandinavia as well, and if it were up to me, I'd take those long climbs over the up and down landscapes. Hope you got some useful information out of this video, and until next time, have a good one.